Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep into the perspective of someone right at the heart of the AI revolution.
Jensen Huang, Nvidia's CEO.
Exactly. We've got these excerpts you shared from a recent Bloomberg TV interview with him.
Right. And the plan, our mission for this deep dive, is really to navigate his views. NVIDIA's performance, the whole China market situation, which is critical, the competition, U.S. policy impacts, even key customers, and how AI infrastructure is being built out globally.
Yeah, we want to pull out the key nuggets, the important bits, and just make it clear and, understandable for you.
Absolutely, because this stuff, it's complex, moving fast.
It really is. I mean, the material touches on everything from hard numbers to geopolitical stuff, future industries. It's a real look inside the thinking there.
Yeah, it reflects just the sheer speed of change right now.
Okay, so let's jump in. NVIDIA's recent performance and how China fits into that picture, based on what he actually said.
Okay.
The interview mentioned a fiscal Q2 sales outlook.
Okay.
Around $45 billion.
Yeah, huge number.
Huge. But he also specifically called out an $8 billion lost revenue opportunity. And that was just related to China for that period.
That $8 billion, it's pretty stark, isn't it? Like a concrete number showing the hit from the trade restrictions in just one market.
Definitely.
But what he then talked about was how they managed to offset that, which, well, it tells you a lot about the wider market, actually.
He said they had, I think the phrase was, a whole bunch of engines firing. And the biggest one was this demand for reasoning or inference AI. He said the demand was off the charts.
Right. And when he says reasoning or inference, you should think of that as, actually running the AI model.
Okay.
To answer something, generate content, make a decision, that kind of thing. It's different from training, which is building the model initially.
Ah, okay. So the demand spike is for using the AI.
Exactly. Using it at scale. Driven by, well, things like ChatGPT, Gemini, all those generative AI apps people are building and using now.
So it's exploding because people are actually using this stuff now, not just developing it in labs.
Pretty much. It signals AI moving out of R&D, into widespread use, daily use even, which is massive validation for them, for their tech.
And he tied this directly to their hardware, didn't he? Their new architecture, Grace Blackwell. He mentioned Building 72.
Yeah, likely a system based on it. He called it a home run architecture.
Right. Designed as a thinking machine, a reasoning AI system. That's what he said.
And the timing, he felt, was just perfect. It landed right as this breakthrough in reasoning AI happened and demand surged. He also gave credit to their supply chain, said it's growing, ramping it up, doing fantastically.
Okay, so it sounds like new supply came online just as the market pivoted hard towards needing hardware for running AI for inference.
Yeah.
And that helped plug the China revenue gap, at least for that outlook, period.
For that specific outlook, yes. But, the conversation didn't stop there. It quickly moved to the strategic importance of China long term.
Right, regardless of those short-term offsets. And according to him, you just can't overstate it.
Yeah.
He called China the second largest AI market. And crucially, home of the world's largest population of AI researchers.
And that's key, right? Because innovation often follows the talent. NVIDIA's goal, as he put it, they want all of the world's AI researchers, all of the world's developers to be building on American stocks.
Meaning American tech platforms, not actual stocks.
Right, exactly. American platforms, ecosystems. But there's this major constraint, the U.S. policy side.
Yeah. He explained their existing tech for China, like the H20 chip.
Yeah.
It's already been engineered down to the lowest spec possible under the rules.
He literally said it's not possible to make it even less performant.
Yeah, that phrasing was a bit awkward.
A bit, but the meaning's clear. They've already stripped down chips like the H20 as much as the current rules allow. They can't just tweak them more if things get tighter.
He did mention, though, that they are still thinking through designing maybe a new chip, a whole new class, just for China under these current rules.
But he was clear it's a real challenge. The limits are quite stringent, quite limited. Whatever they design, it still has to add value to the market, but stay inside those narrow lines.
A really tightrope walk, he called it.
Yeah. And that tightrope is made even trickier by, well, the rise of Chinese competitors. He talked about that directly.
He did. He said Chinese competitors have evolved and advanced greatly over the last year.
Doubling, quadrupling capabilities every year, he said, and volume increasing substantially. That's a incredibly fast development.
And it wasn't just general talk. He gave a specific comparison based on their understanding. Huawei's tech, probably comparable to an H200.
Wow. Comparing Huawei directly to the H200, that's a significant benchmark. It suggests they're really closing the gap on, raw chip power.
And he went further, pointed to Huawei's system offering called Cloud Matrix, said it scales up to even a larger system than our latest generation, Grace Blackwell.
Okay, now that might be even more important than the chip itself.
How so?
Well, saying their system scales larger suggests they can build complete competitive AI solutions, not just individual chips, but the whole package that rivals Nvidia's overall offering.
Right, the whole system.
Yeah. He definitely called Huawei formidable, not sitting still, quite formidable.
And seeing that kind of competition ramp up so fast, it brings us right to his point about the impact of changing U.S. policies, particularly on trust.
Exactly. He basically said because of the policy situation, big Chinese customers, Tencent, Alibaba, Baidu, they have no choice but to pivot to companies like Huawei.
His take was that a big challenge from these shifting rules is the hit to the ability for markets to trust, ultimately American platforms.
Yeah, he felt it's just prudent for those Chinese companies to build on Huawei now because, well, his words, hard to rely on American technology at this point.
Because of the risk of more policy changes down the line.
Precisely. He called it one of the unfortunate parts of changing policies. It creates uncertainty.
So it's the unpredictability, not just the current rules, that pushes companies to look for, more stable domestic options.
That's the idea. It's a long-term business challenge, potentially speeding up the growth of competing non-American tech ecosystems.
But he did offer a strong counterpoint, didn't he?
He did. He expressed confidence that, if able to compete, American companies will compete. He was quite firm on that.
Said to write off American technology companies is not smart.
Yeah.
Emphasizing their competitiveness, believing they will win if they have the confidence to compete.
Yeah, so it highlights this kind of tension, right, between believing in the strength of U.S. innovation and the perceived hurdles put up by policy.
And speaking of policy, the interview did get into his views on specific U.S. policies and talent, too. This was following up on comments he'd apparently made about President Trump.
Right. He said he trusts President Trump, believes he has a vision and a plan, and then he pointed to two specific ideas attributed to Trump that he found really impactful, called them incredible, utterly visionary, transformative.
Okay, what were they?
First was tariffs. He saw them as a pillar of a bold vision to reindustrialize, to onshore manufacturing, and get the world investing in the U.S.
So like a big economic shift idea.
Yeah, for the next century, he framed it, making the U.S. a manufacturing center again. And he said Nvidia is all in on that, building plants, getting partners to invest here.
Okay, and the second idea?
The second was rescinding the AI diffusion rule.
Which likely means rules controlling AI tech exports.
Probably. He saw that specific change not as limiting U.S. tech, but as a way of, and this is his frame, accelerating American stocks around the world.
Accelerating them.
To make sure that before it's too late, that the world builds on American stocks. Meaning, get American AI tech established as the global standard quickly before competitors catch up with their own platforms.
Ah, I see. So frame it as a proactive move for global tech leadership.
That seemed to be his interpretation, yes.
Yeah.
The interview also touched on foreign student visas, which was apparently quite timely. He said he believes the administration still feels very strongly about the incredible importance of immigration.
And he brought in his own experience there, right, as an immigrant himself.
He did. Said many immigrants have contributed greatly to the technology industry here, and that has to continue.
What was the outcome he wanted to see?
Basically, that people from everywhere want to come to the U.S. It's extraordinary, great opportunities. They want the brightest to come here.
Makes sense.
And while sure there need to be rules, he felt it should be possible for those who can make a contribution to bring their great ideas, great intellect, and help us build a great America. He felt the administration gets that, is all in on that.
It's a strong point connecting immigration, talent, and U.S. tech leadership, coming straight from him.
Yeah, a powerful personal angle within that policy discussion.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Away from policy, more towards customers. But maybe looking beyond just the giant cloud companies, the hyperscalers. The interview mentioned an audience question about Elon Inc. Musk's ventures Tesla, his AI company.
Yeah.
Could they be one of Nvidia's biggest customers?
And the CEO confirmed, yeah, they do a lot of business with Tesla.
He talked about working with Musk, too. Called him an extraordinary engineer, Loves working with them. Build amazing computers together. We'll build many more.
What stood out to me was how he described Musk's AI projects, Grok, self-driving, Optimus the robot,
Yeah. What did he say?
called them all world-class, revolutionary, and said they're going to be gigantic opportunities.
He seemed really bullish on the Optimus robot opportunity, didn't he? He said it's right around the corner.
Yeah, and he sees humanoid robots as maybe the first robot that really has a chance to achieve the high volume and technology scale necessary to advance technology.
High volume and tech scale. What's the significance there?
Well, it suggests he sees Optimus not just as one product, but maybe the platform, something that could drive huge demand for the underlying AI tech, the processing power, maybe speed up robotics development generally. And then he made that huge prediction. This is likely the next multi-trillion-dollar industry.
Wow.
Concluded saying he's very excited for him, Musk.
A multi-trillion-dollar industry, humanoid robots, right around the corner. That's a bold statement. Highlights how fast new sectors might just pop up thanks to AI.
It really speaks to the potential for AI to create economic value in ways we're, well, probably only just starting to grasp.
Okay, one last area they touched on. This big AI infrastructure build-out happening globally. Specifically mentioned Europe.
Right, he talked about an upcoming trip, seeing lots of heads of states, France, UK, Germany, Belgium.
And he said the key understanding in Europe now is that AI is seen as part of a national infrastructure, like electricity or the internet. Essential stuff.
Yeah, the motivation being, no society can really function without intelligence now. There's this awakening that countries need to ensure they have their own access to AI.
Not just rely on others.
Exactly. And Nvidia's role, working with these European countries on infrastructure development, helping build these AI factories.
AI factories.
Yeah, he said there are umpteen number of AI factory projects in discussion and development just in Europe.
So it's not just about selling chips anymore. It's helping nations build their own foundational AI compute power.
Pretty much. They see it as essential for national competitiveness capability. It shows this global race for sovereign AI, and Nvidia is kind of enabling it region by region, treating compute like a national asset.
Wow, okay. That was definitely a deep dive. We pulled a lot from Jensen Huang's perspective there, covered the financial hits from China, the rise of competitors like Huawei.
The effects of U.S. policy on trust and talent.
Those fascinating customer bits with Musk, the potential multi-trillion-dollar robot industry.
And this global push for AI infrastructure, it really shows how tangled up tech, economics, policy, competition, and talent are in shaping AI's future, like right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on, drawing from all this. How might this tension play out, between national policies trying to control tech or reshore industry versus this reality of incredibly fast global progress and competitors like Huawei really stepping up? Does that whole dynamic end up being a break? Or does it somehow accelerate competition in unexpected ways?
That's a good one. Or maybe just consider the sheer speed he talked about, these entirely new multi-trillion-dollar industries like humanoid robots appearing right around the corner in the eyes of the people building the core tech. What does that speed imply for everything else?
Definitely a lot happening very, very quickly. Well, thanks for sharing these sources and join us for this deep dive.